Hello, everybody. It is becoming more regular, and obviously, I'm buzzing. It's becoming more regular. There's been cries to get KG back on with Brownie. That will happen, I'm sure, at one time. But yeah, obviously, I'm going to have to split them up at this moment in time because getting them both on at the same time is a nightmare. But I'm joined by Brownie on this one post Sheffield United. Feels like we didn't do one that long ago. Have we done post Sheffield United? Have we spoke about Sheffield United? We have, haven't we? God, well, we'll speak on it again. But yeah,
Why
it's
not?
all rolling into one, mate. But how are you doing anyway?
Yeah, good. We can speak about Sheffield United as much as we want.
Yeah,
Like you said when you were watching from the posh seats, like Armageddon in that away end.
yeah.
I love getting home and just watching videos of like the away end as the goals are going and things like that, and like evacuations taking place and stuff. So, but yeah, no, good. It just seems very un-Leedsy, doesn't it? I mean, everything's just plain sailing. Nothing's really going wrong.
I know you're confident. I had Sheffield United fan on who comes on the channel. I don't know if you're aware of him. And I spent the large portion of about 10, 15 minutes taking the absolute mick out of him because he gave it and I had to give him it back. And that's what you do in it, Brownie. They give it, they've got to take it. And he did quite well, to be fair. But it did feel I was getting a lot of comments saying, you're getting too cocky here, you're getting too braggadocious, kind of. But I thought to myself, do you know what, Brownie? How long have we known each other, mate? And how long am I the guy who turns around and goes, calm down. We still might get beaten. I'm Mr. Negative. So, me going away with it pretty much puts maybe the stamp of approval on this maybe been a different season for Leeds United. Even I'm on board with it at this moment in time with 12 games left.
I don't think we are being overconfident, to be honest. We are the best team in the league. A win tomorrow and we go 10 clear with third. Like 10 clear.
I don't know.
I know Burnley would have a game in hand, but I just think Burnley, they've drawn too many games and it's just killed them. They've just drawn so many.
It's a lot to make up as well, innit? That goal difference as well as the points.
I mean, looking at the goals, we've scored nearly double what the rest of the league have. There's only Sunderland that have got into 50. We're on 71 goals.
I thought the goal difference as well. I think our goal difference plus 50 is like Burnley and Sheffield United combined. Is that right? I'm pretty sure it is.
Sheffield United's is plus 22 and ours is plus 50.
And what's Burnley's? Is theirs 27?
33, plus 34.
It's not far off, is it? So they've got what? Like,
you really are like adding them both together, and it genuinely, like I said, it's very un-Leedsy because normally something does go wrong, like we touched on last time, a global pandemic or something like that. But it just doesn't feel like anything can go wrong. Even if Leeds were to suffer defeat at some point, it doesn't really seem to have rocked this group. We've had some poor results in terms of defeats. When you look at the Millwall away game, where else have we lost? We lost at Blackburn, which was really poor. And what was the other 1-0? Burnley at home. It hasn't really set a rot in for the weeks after.
Yeah, bounce back.
We just seem to have taken the defeat on the chin and then gone on a roll of wins. So yeah, 12 games to go. Looking at 7 wins, few draws, and we're 100 points. Like Leeds generally can afford to lose a couple. So the whole Leeds are falling apart. Some team might get to sing it, but it generally doesn't feel like Leeds would fall apart this season whatsoever. We've been behind against Sunderland, behind against Sheffield United, and just the squad, the changes that can be made to come on and change games, just to grind teams down, is probably why Leeds fans are feeling joyous and that overconfidence. But to me, it doesn't feel like a cockiness or overconfidence whatsoever, because it just feels like no matter what is thrown at Leeds, they've come through it. And Sheffield United, Burnley still have to play each other, which is huge because they both can't win in that game week. So Leeds can afford a few defeats, plus one of them or both of them not picking up maximum points in that particular game. So yeah, we've had some tough tests lately and we've come out with 3 points in all of them.
Yeah, I guess one of the cautious ones to look at after proceedings has been Ethan Ampadu. There's a 50-50 chance, I guess, that he might miss the season from Farke's press conference. But interestingly, mate, I didn't actually realise this, but Bashir Humphreys, who's been one of Burnley's standouts at left back, he's going to be out, and it's a quadricep injury. So apparently, according to Parker, that might be a long-term, a really, almost like season-ending sort of injury. And we've seen it with Enzo Lafay, haven't we, at Sunderland as well. It feels like some players are just picking up these injuries now, and they are key players. But it's interesting from a point of view of this is the first time when you're looking at Conor Roberts, when you're looking at Esteve, when you're looking at Egan Riley and Trafford and Humphreys, it's the first time this season that back five has been broken up. So that's something to keep into, take into context as well. But just what are your thoughts initially on Ampadu being out? It's been stop and start. Does it worry you a little bit in terms of maybe centre-back depth, obviously, with Ampadu being out of this?
No, because like you said, it's the first time for teams. We've had to deal with this most of the season. Obviously, we lost Ampadu and Gruev at the start of the season. Strikes had his little month off.
Seasonal month.
Yeah, so at start of the season, Solomon was out. We've missed play. The only place we haven't really missed anyone is up top. Touchwood. Obviously, I know Bamford's been out, but he hasn't really played much at all. So Piroe and Joseph have really been the only ones in the team alongside Melier who haven't had to come out of the team. Bogle's had to come out through a suspension. We lost Firpo for a bit through injury. So as the season's gone through, we have had players missing quite frequently. Not long defining games, but 2 or 3 games here, 3 or 4 games there, 5 spell there, and they've just coped with it. Solomon came out, so Ramazani played for a spell. Then Ramazani was out for a couple of months, so then Solomon got his way back into the team. Trying to think if James has missed any time. I'm sure he will have done. He seems to have been a bit of a mainstay this season, but I seem to recall something early on in the season where he missed a few games. So other than top of the pitch and the person in the net, at some point the positions have all been rotated, and Leeds are still sat with a cigar out at the top of the league. So it doesn't really seem to have affected Leeds that much.
I think worst case scenario as well, Brownie, if it was a centre back option, it wouldn't be ideal, but you'd probably get the Ayling vibes of maybe Byram going into the back two, and that wouldn't be ideal. But at the same time, Leeds aren't going to face that much at the back if it's based on what we've seen so far, which is Leeds dominating games, especially in the attacking third. I don't think Leeds will face that many sort of like, it won't be attack after attack after attack. It's just not going to happen based on what's happened this season.
We're talking about centre-back worries because Ampadu's missing, but Ampadu only played at centre-back to cover. He started the season centre midfield. So Rodon and Strike, both fit, both available. And that's the luxury that Leeds have got now. They can afford to lose a couple of games. If there was, do you know what I mean? De Bayo can step in. I'd probably see him step in before Giavogi, but absolute worst case scenario, Giavogi. There's enough points on the board and the games that Leeds have got left available not to need to worry about an injury. I don't think it's catastrophic. I'd probably be playing it over cautious and make sure he was right for the start of next season, whether we're playing Chelsea, Liverpool or Arsenal in that opening game. I don't see the need to rush him back and then him be set back even further. Get what he needs to be done. Because I think if you're looking at who's missed the most of the season, Ampadu's probably up there.
Yeah, he's had a tough period, hasn't he, Ampadu?
So we've managed fine for the other 34 games. So I'd like to actually know how many games he's missed, Ampadu. I'll leave that question with you while I not let the laptop die.
Yeah, no, I think I can have a look at that actually. Ampadu's games missed. It's interesting. I mean, he's missed 1, 2. This is this season, obviously. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then he was on the bench once, and then was actually missed 12. So, I mean, 12 games this season. We've played.
That's a third of the season. That's about a third of the season that he's missed already.
Yeah, we've played 34 games, and then for a large portion of it as well when he's been available, Brownie as well. He's been playing centre back. He's been playing centre back for a lot of it.
So come the end of the season, he'll probably have missed over a third. Well, yeah, nearly half of the season. And again, going back to that, are we being overconfident, overcocky? We'll have missed our captain for nearly half a season. The person who calms everything down, and we're still probably going to get to nearly 100 points, if not get 100 points.
Brownie, last season he played every single game as well. And every single game he played.
So, yeah, in terms of injuries, I genuinely don't see an issue. When you look at if Melier was to get injured, I mean, some people will probably not see that as a bad thing. If Piroe or Joseph was to get injured, we're not in the situation like last year where it was only Rutter or Somerville scoring goals. We've got goals coming from all over the place this season.
Should we touch on Piroe a little bit? Obviously, me and you've had conversations before. You've kind of always been very much, he has to start. I look at the beginning of the season, I was very much like, I'd love to see Joseph being given a chance. I think when he blazed one over the bar against Sheffield United, I was very upset with that. I have to say, leant back and smashed it over the bar inside the box. But it's been obviously his breakout season. It's not been great for him, I have to say, but I think in terms of overall performances, mate, in his last two in particular, I think his presence on the pitch has really, really helped Piroe. I think almost like him in that 10 and Piroe in that 9, stretching the centre-backs, it's kind of enabled Piroe to have that time and space in front of goal to be able to, affect proceedings. And I think we need to, Piroe has just been absolutely excellent. It feels like he's really elevated his game. It feels like he's even gone to another level, in terms of even when he's maybe not anonymous as such, but maybe when he's not in games, he's still affecting games, whether it be an assist. I mean, goals and assists now, he's top of the division. He's got 21 this season. He's already surpassed last season's total, of which, I think he got 14 goals. He's already on 15. I guess we should touch on him and how sort of, in my opinion, in sort of the last 6 to 8 weeks, he's really, really stepped up.
I mean, there's no other striker with more goals than him over the last few seasons in the Championship. Everybody were clamouring for a new striker in January. Fark don't know what he was doing. I've heard all that all season. Need to change this, need to do that. He's going to finish the season top goal scorer. I've got no doubt in my mind. So I think you're right. In the last 6-7 weeks, he's definitely come to the party a little bit more. No pun in the sort of like chant. But yeah, he's got 70 league goals in the last 4 seasons. That's just league.
What do you like about him as a striker? What do you like about him?
Just so composed in front of goal. If the ball lands to him in the penalty box, I can't think. Obviously, we laugh and joke about the missed chances from Bamford in the last few years, and even Joseph's had a fair few howlers this season. I can't think of many chances Piroe's had and thought should have scored there. Do you know what I mean? When you see these big chances, I genuinely can't think of many where I thought he needs to do better. He just seems ice cold in front of goal. Like you say, 21 goal contributions with a third of the season left, quarter of the season left. No reason why he can't get up to near 30. 30 goal contributions in 46 games, I think, is an unbelievable return. And he's just, again, I think he brings that presence as well. He's just a name. Do you know when you've been in changing rooms and you get a team sheet and you see certain players not playing, you see a Piroe on the other team, you just think, danger man. And I just think he just brings that presence.
Sort of his goal of the season, it felt against Sheffield United as well, wasn't it? Sort of, obviously not the team's goal of the season, although it might be up there, but 25 yards out, smashes it in. It's a brilliant finish. That's kind of what you want from him, isn't it?
That game and the Sunderland game, I thought when he dropped into the 10, I thought his link-up play was so good. He's just so calm. He's just so calm and cool.
Sometimes it's annoyed me, I'll be honest, when he's calm and cool, but it's his game. It's Joe Piroe. You can't change him.
And this is obviously at the start of the season and pre-Christmas. everybody's anxious and things, and it's not. It's only now when you see the points gap. Nothing's changed in the way he plays. The only difference is we've now got a points gap.
Yeah.
So people are a little bit more calm and relaxed about it. The conversation will be there to be had about who starts up front next season in the Premier League. Is he in that category of players who are really good in the Championship? I don't think he's actually played in the Premier League. So will he need help? Probably. But as in terms of this season and last season, 29 league goals he's got with 12 games to go. No idea about what he's done in the Cups, but if he can get to 35 goals over the 2 seasons, I think it's been money well spent.
Definitely. Just before we continue as well, everybody, big thanks to our sponsors for this, sponsoring One Leeds. We normally don't do this through the podcast, but now I've got all of your attention. GNO, the Job Match Group, and of course, IPM Group UK. If you do want to sponsor the channel, make sure you get in touch. Any queries, One Leeds fan channel at gmail.com. Okay, Brownie, let's move on, mate. The month that we've had, it's just, I think it's blown all of us away. Me and you have spoken about it loads, and I think we'd have, as long as we got through undefeated, that'd have been a right result. It'd have been a right result. You know, a couple of wins in there, maybe a couple of draws. You come through and you're solid, aren't you? You've done it. You've done a really good job, and I wouldn't have complained at that 100%. But for Leeds to have done what they've done, 2 fantastic wins. I mean, look at Coventry. Coventry, I think, have won every single game, barring a 4-1 loss in the FA Cup to Ipswich under Frank Lampard. They've won every single game. I think he's been there 10 games now. I think they've won 8 or 9. And they've obviously, we took the ball off them, didn't we? I say that a lot, but they didn't even compete with us in that game. That should have been 6 or 7. Look at the Watford game. That was just an absolute mullering again. And then you kind of look at, you look at the last 2 games, and don't get me wrong, they've not been epic Leeds performances. I was worried in that first half against Sheffield United. I really was. Sunderland, I thought were good. I thought they were really good against us. But it has been those changes, hasn't it, Brownie? It's been the fitness of the side, the stamina of the side. But it's felt in every single game we've played, Leeds have just puffed the chest out, haven't they? They've peacocked a little bit in and around that 50, 60, 70th minute. And teams just cannot deal with it. They can't deal with just maybe a sort of level up in intensity. But also when you see those subs on the sidelines, it's felt in the last month especially that they've just made a massive impact off the bench.
Yeah, I think I saw a stat through the week where Daniel Farke's record in February at Leeds, it's ridiculous. I think he's won every game in both seasons. I think back to when Bielsa was in charge and Farke was at Norwich, and it was Leeds, Norwich, and forget who now was Sheffield United. That the year we didn't go up, it was Norwich and Sheffield United beat us to it. And I remember then when Farke was at Norwich would always score like 97 at Carrow Road or 92. They'd score so many late goals, and it just feels the same thing. It just feels like Leeds are a bit of a machine now, and we're just churning out results. You know, when we used to say about Sheffield United know how to win games.
Yeah,
I think this Leeds team's very much like that. I look back to the not collapse, but when we were 3-1 up and cruising at Hull, and we drew 3-3. What was that? Right at the start of January, just after New Year's Day, 3rd or 4th of January. We've conceded 2 goals since that, and we're going into March. Now, everybody's talking about Burnley's defence, and rightly so. They've only conceded 9. But I think this Leeds team, they've conceded 2 since Hull. 1 at Sheffield United, 1 against Sunderland. And they literally just shut up shop since then. Drawn 1 and won the rest. And again, going right back to the start about overconfidence. No, we're just ticking off wins left, right, and centre. And the run of games, you know, when you see these group of 5 games, how many points do you want from this? And you'd have probably took 10. What we've had, Coventry away, Sheffield United away, Sunderland, Watford away, Cardiff. Would 10 or 11 points have been a bad return? I don't think it would have been. We've took 15. We've just gone and blown 15 points. Just there, bang, 15, 5 wins. Because everybody's obviously this season gone about Leeds' away form. We've gone to Coventry, 1. Gone to Sheffield United, 1. Gone to Watford, 1.
Stoke Derby. I think also it all felt like it started, didn't it, Brownie, in around that December period. December when we beat Stoke and Derby. Derby at that point, who'd won 20 points in 27 at home and were a different Derby to what they are now, 100%. Cashin was obviously still there before going to Brighton, the defender. And we went there, we won, didn't we? It was a tough game. They'd won 2 on the bounce, by the way, beaten West Brom at home the week before. We beat them, and then we beat Stoke, which was, we kind of needed to go and beat them. But
yeah, we're not really good over Christmas usually.
No,
we do drop points, and I think following that we had the Blackburn game, which could have gone either way. To be fair to Blackburn, I say either way. They scored their late goal after we scored the penalty late on, and then we went to Hull and chucked away 2 points really with Melier, and that's what I meant at the start, where you have your knockbacks, and it's not like it's gone on and on and on for weeks. Yeah. There was the back-to-back games, New Year's Day, and then Hull on the 4th, where we dropped points. And then since then, it's been win, draw away at Burnley, which is not a bad result. In fact, I'm going to have a look since that Hull game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins and a draw since the 4th of January, conceding 2. And that is why Leeds will be in the Premier League next year. They're just relentless.
Not lost as well. Not lost as well since November in the league, have we?
Yeah, I think, what is it now? 16 games without defeat. Yeah. Same as what we had when we won the league in 92. So if we were to avoid defeat tomorrow, it's another record that Farke's eclipsed. Obviously, I've probably put the kiss of death on the goals conceded tomorrow, but you'll probably see Madge or Mowat running away with a goal. But we're going into games not feeling like we'll lose.
I know. It's a weird feeling.
We went to Bramall Lane on Monday night, our biggest rivals. I didn't feel like we'd lose. I genuinely didn't feel nervous about the game at all. So yeah, there's
who's sort of like, if you were to say right now, the player of the season. I know we've got 12 months left. 12 months left. Imagine 12 games left.
If you 12 more months.
12
more months of our 12 kickoffs. No thanks.
Yeah, we've had I think that I saw a statistic and it was like a couple of weeks back. It was like in the next 10 games, or it might have been a while back. It was like in the next 10 games, we've got 1 3 p.m. kickoff. I think it's Preston. It's like, oh my God. So if you were to name a player of the season right now who's impressed you the most, who would it be? And why?
Well, I'll create a short list.
Okay.
Dan James would be on it.
Okay.
Manor Solomon, as in the last month and a half, 2 months, he has become undroppable. Whether he'd been for player of the season, probably not, because he has, at the start of the season, I think he struggled to really get going. Yeah. I think there'd be a mention for Joe Rodon, a mention for Bogle, and yeah, so I'm looking at James. I mean, you can't overlook Piroe's goals.
I'm surprised you missed one of them out.
And you mean Tanaka?
Yeah, surprised.
Yeah.
He came in a bit later on as well, though, didn't he? He came in a little bit, not that much later, but
I just think when you're looking at players of the seasons, I think players like that, defensive midfielders, get overlooked purely because people are looking at who's won the games. Like last year, everybody went Somerville. Well, he was absolutely bang average from February onwards, but because of his goals and assists, he mopped it up. So yeah, I'm still with James.
James the one for you.
Player of the season, I'm still with James. Obviously, a lot can happen in the next 12 weeks. I mean, if Solomon carries on for the next 12 games, I think I'm still with Dan James. But yeah, mentions for Tanaka, Rodon, Bogle, and Piroe. I mean, you're looking at half. That's why the Leeds have been so good. I've just mentioned half a team.
Yeah,
if you were looking at a championship team of the season, you could make strong cases for a lot of it being Leeds.
Oh yeah, you could. Yeah. At least 7 or 8 of them. Very strong cases. Yeah. I'd go. I'd probably edge this season. James a really good shout. James, I'd go probably most improved, him or Firpo, but James has played more games, obviously. I'd probably go, but then again, there's another one who's improved there. My player of the season would probably be Joe Rodon. I like towards the back end of last season, I was looking and I was thinking, Strauch's the most important defender we've got right now as in centre backs. I think it's probably equal right now. It's probably equal in terms of how important both. I think his distribution from the back's got so much better. His perception, Brownie, as a centre back, you're watching the Sheffield United game at the weekend, and it's where the ball drops. It's him giving himself a yard. It's getting in front of the attacker at the right times. He's not giving away free kicks. I think he's halved his yellow card record at this point last season. And I think he's been brilliant, Rodon. He's been absolutely excellent.
He was on 4 yellows for ages, wasn't he?
Yeah. And Brownie, one thing as well, mate, he is always available.
Yeah,
always.
that's what I was going to say. And I think he was the one where everybody was thinking, we can't lose it. We can't get a yellow card. We can't lose him for a game. And I think you're right. I think defensively, I think he's been fantastic. I think we touched on him early on in the week. He's constantly barking orders. And I didn't realise how much it mattered to him until the celebrations against Sunderland and at Sheffield United. You can really see he's bought into it. James, he's on 18 goal contributions already with 12 games to go.
He might go past, by the way, he might go past Piroe. He could go past Piroe. I think he's got something like 10 or 11 goals. I think Piroe's got 15.
Yeah, last year, we're just talking league here. James got 21 goal contributions overall, and he's already on 18. I just, again, another conversation in the Premier League, but in the Championship, he must be the one that players do not want running at you. You just can't. I'd love to know how many fullbacks have received a yellow card playing Dan James this season.
And the funny thing is, that Sheffield United game, I think, I know Wilder came out and said they controlled him. I actually don't think he was that wrong. I know we all took the mick, but I actually didn't think he was in the game that much, to be honest with you. If anything, I actually thought he was on the other side in terms of Solomon getting us out. But James comes away with 2 assists. Do you know what I mean?
He's been like that. He's been like that in quite a few away games. You think, I remember thinking Blackburn away. I thought, where is Dan James? You're like absolutely anonymous.
Yeah.
So there is a few sprinkled away games where you want him more from him, but I think he's one of them, a bit like Somerville, trying to play. Teams are trying to double up on him now, trying to do what they can to isolate him. And even on a quiet night, as he said, he's come away with 2 assists. So yeah, I'm still Dan James for player of the season. Obviously, there's still a third of the season to go, near enough. Well, a quarter, something like that.
It came out yesterday about Solomon, mate, and I know you're a big fan of him. I'm definitely, I've definitely come round to him a little bit. Just to caveat, the only thing I was a little bit worried about at the start of the season, which people do take out of context, Brownie, you know what it's like, mate. It's always black and white. There's never grey involved. If you criticise Daniel Farke, you hate him and want him sacked. If you criticise a player, you don't like him for whatever reason. It's just not the case. He's really grown on me. But at the start of the season, I was very much like, Ramazani's our player on the left, first and foremost. Solomon is on a lot of money per week. And what I'd seen at the start of his campaign, I think he looked a little bit overweight. I thought he was a little bit one-dimensional in terms of that cut inside. And I didn't think he was really that good on the flank. And I also thought to myself, well, just out and out, I did think Ramazani was a better player than him. I think that's still up for debate, I guess, in a sense. But I think Solomon's been absolutely unbelievable. He's arguably been Leeds' best player, like you quite rightly said. In terms of if we were to get to the Premier League, hypothetically, I did a video yesterday and I kind of was looking at maybe some of the cons, because I know everybody's very much pro signing Solomon. I kind of look at some of the cons just to balance it out and play be devil's advocate, really. And you kind of look at the price, maybe the injury record, and if that can last a period of time, because I think it costs a little bit of money, and maybe coming up against fullbacks in the Premier League that are just simply not going to allow him to get the ball and cut inside every single time, which is obviously where he's very, very efficient. But the pros and the massive pros are if we can get him on a good price. He's been in the Premier League before. He's been outstanding at points this season. He knows the club, obviously, right now. There's not going to be a mass change for him. And, could this be a fresh start for him at Leeds United from Tottenham Hotspur? Where do you stand on it? I'm going to actually say to you, try be as objective as you can, because we've got a lot of sentiment attached, haven't we? But what I will say as well, mate, where does it sort of leave Ramazani as well for you? And one more point, sorry. I see Leeds in the Premier League, and me and you have spoken about this. It has to be counter-attack. You know, we have to just let the opposition have the ball, and we've just got to counter-attack. We're a good passing team, but if we start trying to control games, they're going to pick us off. I kind of look at Nottingham Forest with Alanga, Hudson-Odoi, and Chris Wood. Brownie, what I'll say is I think maybe an explosive left winger is maybe more on the Ramazani front in terms of just how quick he is. So I kind of look at maybe that dimension of him and James there may work in the Premier League. I want to get your thoughts, mate. What are your thoughts on what I've just said?
No, you kind of took the words out of my mouth a little bit. With next year in the Premier League, we're not going to be as attacking as much.
Yeah.
Going to be defending a lot. So the counter attack is going to be something we're going to have to utilise a lot, which you then think pace. Now, I've seen Solomon get played over the top quite a few times, and he hasn't got that pace to burn away from defenders.
It's not his game, is it? It's not his game.
It's not, which then does put the Ramazani mould, so the attributes, as probably more effective. Now, at the start of the season, I was really impressed with Ramazani. Since he's come back from injury, I think his quality has been really poor.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah,
poor,
I do. I think his end product has been non-existent, to be honest, since he came back from injury. I think of Coventry away, where he got played clean through in the middle of the goal, and he's just passed it straight at the keeper. And I don't know, but his attributes are probably more.
It's like adaptable in it to the Premier League.
Yeah, I think the price is a big one for Solomon. Definitely, will Tottenham hold us to ransom? And I don't even know how much I'd want to spend.
Yeah, I was thinking because I do look at Brownie. I look at kind of your, let's say Ramazani, right? 7.4 or 5 million, whatever it was. We've probably not seen the full depth of it yet in terms of getting our return back, but you can probably see glimpses. You look at Tanaka, 3.4 million, and I know every transfer is not the same, but it does show maybe the 49ers recruitment. It, you know, is obviously pretty damn good with what we've brought in this season, including Solomon, obviously on loan. But you do maybe look at it and think, is there a couple of absolute gems out there that when Leeds are in the Premier League, we then have that attractiveness to say, bang, right, we can go get him.
That's it, isn't it? It's who is on the shortlist, who is available. I mean, he's not done it this season, but I'd love to see Solomon in the 10.
Yeah,
I think he's so diminutive. The ball is like super glued to his feet, and he has got an end product. He can find a pass.
It's very Pablo in how he moves, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a great sort of like for like. Yeah, I probably would want to sign him. I think he's done more than enough to sign him. If it was 20 million upwards, I'd be a little bit hesitant, because I think you can probably go out and get more explosive wingers for that sort of price. But yeah, definitely depend on the price. Going back to the play of the season talk, I think he kind of arrived. I think it was Oxford at home. Did well over Christmas, and then he scored early against Sheff Wednesday in January. And then since then, he just seems to have gone on and on and on, and just keeps chipping in. And so for a play of the season, he's probably been player of the last 2 months, hasn't he, Solomon? So he'd probably have to keep that up till the end of the season. But if you'd have asked me in October, I'd have said, thanks, Tottenham, but no thanks.
Yeah.
If you ask me now, I think there's definitely a conversation to be had on price. Definitely.
Yep.
I think I'd be disappointed if he wasn't at Leeds next season. I think he has done quite a lot. Whether he'd start, who knows? It just all depends on who becomes available. And I mean, when we went up last time, I mean, Rodrigo came from nowhere. Nobody even had him on the radar. He was playing for Spain at the time, and we just went bang, 30 million. So you don't know what's in the pipeline whatsoever. Yeah, I'd like to sign him.
Okay. I wanted to touch on as well, mate. I think he's probably the most underrated signing, not only in the Leeds squad, but probably impact-wise in the Championship. Joe Rothwell on loan. Just what have you? I just kind of want to, because Joe is another one who I absolutely love. I love Joe Rothwell. He's so classy, Brownie. It's certain midfielders you look at and you think, oh man, you have so much ability, especially relative to this level. And I just love watching Joe. He's just classy. He's elegant. But he's got a bit of a, he's a driven footballer as well. He gets the ball, he'll drive forward, he'll make things happen. He's such a good option. I guess we've got to talk about him as well and how maybe we didn't expect anything from him. I have to say, like, that's one thing I will say I maybe got right. I wanted him in at the start over Gruev, like every single time. But he's been excellent, hasn't he? And he's going to be so important in those last 12 games, I feel.
Yeah, he's probably played more football than he even probably thought he would do himself with the injuries to Gruev and Ampadu at the start of the season. He's not starting for Leeds now, so I'm not sure how he would then start for Leeds in the Premier League. Again, same conversation as Solomon. You don't know who's on the radar, who becomes available, who can you go and buy. Don't think he cost that much. He is.
They were quoting 7, weren't they? 7.5.
I mean, he's 30 plus. If you look at his recent clubs, Blackburn, Bournemouth, Southampton, Leeds. Again, it's a sort of that category. Very good Championship player.
Yeah.
Is he going to be a week in, week out Premier League player? Probably not. We always see him as this progressive attacking midfielder. He's got 4 assists.
Yeah.
2 of them of which were vital and came in the same game. So I think that one would massively depend on squad depth, squad player, absolutely. But again, price. It's football now. What money is getting spent?
I guess the mad thing is as well, when you look at Bournemouth, let's say if we do get up there, and it's crazy when you compare in both squads. I mean, their midfield depth is so deep that you're probably now looking at Joe Rothwell being literally like 7th or 8th central midfield option. And that's what you're going up to. You're going up to that standard of which somehow you've got to compete with these teams. So I know it's all relative. Like for Leeds, he's been excellent. But I do think there has to be, this is what I mean with a lot of these players, and we're not there yet, but there has to be a ruthlessness with picking them.
And that's what we need with we can't go back, you go back there, you go back there. We'll sell, because you need a depth. Leeds need to start now, because for the last God knows how many years, 4, 5, 6 years, that's one thing that Leeds haven't had, a squad depth. Yeah. It's always been square pegs in round holes, moving people about just to fit, and not real great quality depth either.
Out of interest, what would you do with Byram? For me, it does not in the Prem at any level.
Well, I've got a bit of an issue because I can't. We mentioned about Firpo, don't we?
Yeah, there's another one.
Could we lose 2 left backs?
I think we will. I think he'd have signed by now, wouldn't he?
Yeah, we've got Jack Harrison to come back though, so that's one player.
That's one to send Conor into meltdown.
But yeah, I think you're right. I think we need to start bulking up our squad. So you look at what we've got now. Bamford next year, probably not. Byram next year, probably not. Rothwell, I don't think we will. Solomon, I think there's a deal to be done there. Whether the player would want it and the price. So straight away, 4 players. We're talking about losing 3. Giavogi, no. So that's 4 players down.
Melier, no.
I think someone would have to pay money for, someone would have to come in and buy him, and I'm not sure who's doing that.
Might have been put on the bench, but I don't think he.
Yeah, sorry, I was just more meaning bodies we'd lose.
Yeah, we don't need to go through the whole squad, do it? Just be players who, are actually going to obviously go. They're obviously going to go.
Verba, probably.
Yeah, definitely. Me and you thought that he was going to be a January thing. He just seems crocked, doesn't he?
So you're looking at already with the squad we've got 5 or 6 down.
Definites, yeah, kind of definites already, really, aren't they?
So that might lean more towards, do you know what, we might go spend 4 or 5 million on Rothwell just to add a body. But who knows?
Well, we did a bit of a table predictor earlier on, and it's just on anybody can do it. And we might try to do a competition as well with back four, where whoever gets the closest will win some sort of merchandise. But before we get into just the West Brom game, we did a bit of a table predictor earlier and asked Brownie to do it as well. And we pretty much, weirdly, got it exactly the same. So we're focusing a lot, obviously, on the top three. And I tried to be as harsh on Leeds as possible. And good news, everybody, Leeds are still top. And Leeds have somehow broken 100 points with mine as well. But yeah, me and Brownie landed on the exact same point. So Brownie, if you want to just talk through that.
Yeah, I think it'll finish like that, Leeds, Sheffield United, Burnley. I'm not overly armoured with the points that they've all got. But because the teams have got so many points already, I mean, I had Leeds drawing another 4 games.
Sorry, this is your wait, I think I've just loaded. Yeah, this is yours, isn't it? Sorry. Yeah.
No, that's not mine.
Is it not? Oh, okay. Right. Well, you talk through it and I'll load it up now. Hold on. Same points pretty much, wasn't it?
Yeah, I had Leeds on 103 points. Which I can see happening. I couldn't really see Sheffield United breaking 100 points. But because the teams have already got so many points, I mean, I actually had Sheffield United losing at Burnley. Yeah. I had them drawing a game, and they're still.
That's yours. Here we go.
Here we go. Oh, I didn't have them breaking 100 points, just under. I do think it'll be that Leeds, Sheffield United, Burnley. I can't see how Burnley get to 93, but the games that teams have got left, they're quite nice for all the teams involved. So yeah, the only thing I'm happy with is that I said Leeds, Sheffield United at the start of the season, and that's how it's going to end. Do I think Sheffield United are going to get another 29 points? What's left? 12, 36. See, that's still them dropping 7 points. That's how big the gap is now with the Premier League, with the Championship and the Premier League. What did they get last year, Ipswich? Did they get to 97?
I think so, 97, yeah.
So it's probably not far off then. They finished second with 97, 96, 97. And Sheffield United are in the same ballpark. So
well, let's be honest, Brownie. I mean, we're saying we haven't lost that many games. They haven't lost that many games either right now. So it's you kind of got to give them that, haven't you?
I think with the 12 that are left, I think I had us winning 8, drawing 4.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard not to. I mean, this is just mine for reference. Mine's a little bit. Yeah. So I've gone Leeds 100. So I was really harsh. I actually think I must have only gone as losing 2 more there. So I think I've gone QPR and Portsmouth. I've got. I mean, the goal difference ends ridiculously because I've got Leeds beating Borough 4-1 and Plymouth 4-1. I've not got us losing. I've not got us drawing as many games as you have. Because Leeds for me, it's just going to be just wins pretty much, and then the odd loss. I've got Sheffield United somehow breaking 101 point. I mean, even mine there, that just seems way too much. If you look at the draws, though, I've gone Burnley drawing like 3 or 4 more, and Sheffield United. I've got Sheffield United just winning a few games, but still losing games as well on top of that.
This is the thing. Like, we've got Sheffield United. I had them on 99. You had them on 101. But when you actually look at the games, Preston at home, Oxford away, Plymouth away, Stoke. They've got winnable games themselves.
Yeah, they have.
They've got the Sheffield derby. They've got Burnley.
What did you have? Did you have them dropping points on that one?
No, I had them winning the Sheffield derby.
See, I had them
getting beat at Burnley.
I had Sheff Wednesday beating them 2-1, and then I had them drawing at Burnley 0-0.
And people might think, "Oh, cocky, over 100 points." Genuinely, when you look at the games that are left, what we on 75, and there's 30.
Well, even if they're not taking into consideration yours, if people think we're cocky and all this sort of stuff, we've lost 3 games out of 34. I've been really harsh. Got us drawing at Luton, losing to Portsmouth, losing to QPR, which I'm not convinced we'll do anyway. But I've been quite harsh there, and I've still got us going on. It's like 103 points. It's breaking the 100-point barrier. So, yeah, the average just shows right now that Leeds aren't going to lose that many more games.
To not get to 100 points, we've got to drop 12. There's 36 left to play for. We need 25 out of 36 to not get to 100 points. So Leeds have got to drop 12 points not to get to 100 out of 36. And I genuinely don't see us dropping a third of our points.
Well, is it 5 wins and we're at 90?
15, 18. Yeah.
So it's 5 wins and 5 wins out of 12 and we're at 90 and we've got 6 home games left.
So I think from this stage, I think it would be a poor end to the season if Leeds didn't get to 100.
Yeah. Well, we'd be lower in our average, wouldn't we? Yeah. So you've got us winning. Have you got us winning 8 and 12?
I've got us winning another 8. I've got us beating West Brom. I've got us beating Portsmouth. I've got us beating Millwall at home. Got us beating Swansea at home. Got us beating Preston at home. Got us beating Oxford away, Stoke at home, and Plymouth away on the final day. I've got us dropping points. QPR away, Luton away, Middlesbrough away, and I was even kind and Bristol City at home draw. So that's with chucking in results that probably won't happen. Still getting to 103.
Yeah, me too. That's kind of, I tried to go harsh. I still got 103. The big one on mine is obviously the gap between Sheffield United and Burnley, which is massive there. So, well, I say it's massive. It's what, 7 or 8 points or whatever. But
interesting, the playoff teams were quite similar. We both got Coventry in there, and I've got West Brom. Coventry, West Brom. You've got Coventry, Norwich.
It's always Norwich, mate. They always sneak themselves in all the time. They always do it.
But yeah, it's a nice place to be in, though, isn't it? It's a nice place, and it would be interesting to see other people's opinions.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know in the comments. Out of interest, what's your goal difference? Yours aren't calculated like mine. Annoyingly, I've got us on, but it tells the difference. Did it tell you the difference? Oh, it does. Sorry, yeah, it does tell you. Yes, you 67. I've got 66. So it's very similar, to be honest. Yeah. All right, mate. Well, let's move on just to West Bromwich Albion before we end. Obviously,
there's still league games to do, isn't there?
yeah. West Brom coming to town. Tony Mowbray. Any sort of worries about maybe like an adrenaline dump after such a mad week for Leeds United, or are you sort of like steadfast with Leeds going into this one and once again doing a bit of a demolition job on another team? Fifth in the table. I think it's the highest team we've got to play left. There's only one other team in the top 10, Bristol City, that Leeds have got to play in the top 10. The rest are below that.
I'm just looking at when Tony Mowbray came in. So he came in there, 2 wins out of 4. Drawn away.
Just for reference, mate. The last 6 away games, they've not won 1.
Oh, they might win them. We're good at breaking them kind of records. No, I can't see. Leeds have got the chance to go 10 clear of Burnley, with Burnley not playing because they're in the FA Cup. I can't see that opportunity being spurned. The only niggly feeling I've got is these half-12 kickoffs haven't been too good this season. But I fully expect to go to Elland tomorrow and come away with 3 points.
Yeah.
And the gap could get even bigger because Sheffield United away to QPR, that's a tricky game, QPR.
It is. It's going to be. We're looking at it, aren't we, as one of ours and saying, yeah, that could be a tricky one. So it's definitely a tricky. I can see Sheffield United still coming through, and this is why I probably think they'll get promoted. To be honest with you, I still think there's more. I think Sheffield might lose. No, I do. I think Sheffield will lose more games than Burnley, but I think Burnley will draw more games. And I think Sheffield will just win more games. Like I could see, like for example, I don't think they're to go to QPR, but I could see, Burnley going to a similar team and drawing, where Sheffield United, it feels like they're always going to get that 1-0 win, or they're always going to win the game 2-1. Because they've got a good depth, haven't they?
Yeah, and like we saw in the first half of Sheffield United, if they were to play like that intensity, against all the other teams, not just in their cup final, they'd probably win more games. But yeah, jokes aside, I thought they were brilliant first half, Sheffield United. So they have got that quality there to go and win enough games. I think that they need to see them over the line, but there's only 2 points in it. I think this Burnley being in the FA Cup's killed them a little bit because Leeds and Sheffield United are both playing again, and psychologically, that you just see that gap. Burnley can be 5 points behind Sheffield United come the end of the weekend. It's
And they're going to win again, aren't they? They've got, what is it? They've got, is it Preston? So they're going to win again. They're going to be in the quarterfinals. So that's just going to keep going. They will, though, won't they? They'll end up beating Preston. They'll beat Preston away, and then it's.
I think their game in hand is they've got to go to Cardiff next midweek. So next week, Tuesday or Wednesday, they're going to Cardiff, which they should be playing at the weekend. Yeah, 1st of March, 4th of March.
Yeah,
going to Cardiff midweek.
Definitely more to get into there as well when it comes to it. But go on then, mate. What's your, to finalise it, what's your score prediction?
I think about 2-0 on that thing. 2-0 tomorrow. Another clean sheet. Couple of goals. What about you? Any drop points?
No drop points for me. I think it's going to be a little bit tighter. I've just got a feeling there might be a little bit of we've had a period of time now, haven't we? It'll have been 5 days, I think, since we played. And we're only going down the road, aren't we? Back home. It's not like a massive trip or anything like that. Can we do that 5-game period that we were talking about and win every single one, which was our trickiest point of the season? I mean, it's just mental to me to think about. So I've got us winning, yeah. I have got us conceding a goal, though. So I've got us winning 2-1. But and then is it the big one next? Is it not the big one, but I think is it Luton away next, which is
no, that's further on. It'd be Portsmouth away.
Portsmouth. Oh, yeah. I don't know why I'm looking at that, Brownie. Maybe it's another 12:30 and they've got a half decent record at home. I mean, they've got nothing to play for, to be honest with you. They're well out the relegation zone, but that obviously proves that they're half decent side as well, I guess. Yeah, but
I think we've got West Brom, Portsmouth, then Millwall midweek, and we definitely owe them one.
Yeah, it'd be a shame for us to not give them a licking. They deserve it after they won the World Cup last time. All right, mate. We'll leave it there, I guess.
Just another reason why I think Leeds carry on going. There's no period now where it's tough game. Do you know what I mean? I don't see a point where Leeds go back to back without a game where they've won. So they're constantly just adding points to that tally. Between now and
games have been chalked down, Brownie, as well. People don't take that into account. You know that it's been chalked down every single week. There's less games left, and it's going to go like a flash. It's going to be May very, very quickly.
We're all going to be on a beach or a harbour partying away.
Hopefully, mate. Hopefully, and we'll come to that. Obviously, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But cheers for joining, mate. Appreciate it.
No, it's been good. It's always good to talk Leeds. We've done our fair few years of doom and gloom, so it's about time we had something to just not have to worry about. I'm at that point now with Leeds where I'm just not worried.
It's flow state, isn't it? Flow state.
In years gone by, it's been very edgy or very. I just don't feel it. Just feels different.
Yeah,
just feels right. Next game, win. Next game. Game.
You're going to be watching. I know you're busy tonight, but you're not going to be putting on Sunderland versus Chef Wednesday.
I'm past caring about Sunderland scores. 13 points is not happening. It's not happening. Which I know we were wrapping up, but a week last Monday at 9:30, they were 4 points behind us when they were 1-0 up. And
mate, you just look at when they played Burnley and they had those 2 last-minute penalties, and that it's like, and they missed them both, and then they come to Leeds and they're 13 minutes away from a famous win. It's just there's massive moments for Sunderland, aren't there? Huge moments.
13 points. I don't think they're in any danger of dropping out of the playoffs.
No.
But 13 points to Leeds with a far few inferior goal difference, not happening. I'm not worried about
Enzo Lafay's out for the season as well.
He's probably that he's probably thought about that obligation to buy if they go up and thought, probably don't want to live in Sunderland, so
yeah.
chuck one in.
Down tools. Yeah. All right, mate. Nice one. Guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. As I've said, check out our sponsors. Always subscribe by IPM, JMG, and GNO. Any queries, email oneleadsfanchannel@gmail.com for reasonable rates. And as always, everybody, we'll catch you in a bit. Cheers.